Raider Nation, subscribe for more free agency videos. We're going to keep you guys updated the entire offseason, but NFL free agency is literally right around the corner. So if you're curious about who the Raiders can sign or who the Raiders did sign, hit that big red button that says subscribe and make sure you're joining us because we're going to have new videos every single day.
No matter the location, from OAKLA to LV, I'm a Raider.
Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and on today's show, it's all about free agency. Now, the Raiders have $33.7 million, seventh most right now in the National Football League. So on today's show, we're going to be breaking down 45 players that I think that the Raiders could go out and sign. I base these players on overall need, overall talent, fit, interest, and how likely they are to sign with the Raiders. So let's first off look at the biggest needs here on the defensive side of the football. Basically, everything on defense, right? Edge rusher, defensive tackle, safety, linebacker, cornerback. So, I'm going to give you 25 names to keep in mind here on defense. But I'm also going to keep you guys updated on the offense as well. Right tackle, offensive guard, wide receiver, and running back. We're going to be breaking down the best players and best fits for the Las Vegas. And again, the players that I think are most likely to sign with this team. So go down to the comment section. Let me know right now, what is the Raiders' biggest need? If you just want to be a cheater on the episode of Cheaters here, all I need you to do is just type defense because it honestly probably qualifies. So go down one more time here. What is the Raiders' biggest need? We're going to start here on the defensive side of the football, and you are watching one more time the Raiders Report. Mitchell Renz from Chat Sports, and we're going to go to the edge rusher position. Number one, Yannick Ngakoue. Good relationship with Gus Bradley from their time back in Jacksonville. He's my number one edge rusher that I think the Raiders could potentially sign. Number two here is Lawson from the Cincinnati Bengals. A lot of talent. Sure, it didn't have the best year this past season, but I do know the Raiders are interested, and I know if Lawson can be a little bit cheaper than Yannick, it's someone to keep in mind. Romeo Okwara, this is a player that I know the Raiders have their eyes on, no doubt about it. Could potentially play a Benson Mayock type role. Romeo's not that good in the run, but if you're looking for an elite player to get after the quarterback, he's definitely somebody there. Melvin Ingram from the Los Angeles Chargers, obviously a big-time connection with Gus Bradley. You're going to see a lot of players out there that have that Bradley connection due to multiple reports that you could see the Raiders bringing in some of these guys. And depending on when you're watching this, today's March 11th, Melvin Ingram's in Las Vegas right now. Let's go to Jadeveon Clowney. This is going to be a name that actually probably surprises a lot of you because you know I'm not the biggest Clowney fan, but he is coming off a season where he struggled a little bit. You could actually see another one-year type of prove-it deal, and I know John Gruden in the past really like Clowney. So be honest with me here. Which edge would you want the Raiders to go out and sign? It doesn't have to be one of the names that I provided. It can be one of the names that, well, wasn't on the show. And just as a reminder, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions on today's episode. So make sure you're active. Make sure you're going down in the comments. Let's go to the defensive tackle position here. Dalvin Tomlinson. He's number one since Leonard Williams ended up getting franchise tag. Shelby Harris, he knows the division very well. Obviously also was a Las Vegas Raider, or I guess technically an Oakland Raider. At number three, it's Sheldon Rankins. If you want to be able to establish the Gus Bradley defense, it does start up front. However, the loss of a player like Leonard Williams does make me wonder if they concentrate a little bit more, at least in the draft. Daquan Jones, 29 years old, did not have that solid of a year in Tennessee. It could have been, though, because there wasn't a lot of talent around him. But if you are looking for a little bit more of a veteran presence, Daquan Jones is a player to keep in mind. Next guy coming in here, and I'm going to butcher his last name, so I'm just going to say Larry. This is going to be a player that I do actually anticipate the Raiders to heavily target and sign, in least terms of keeping a little bit cheaper of an option. I should also mention that I fully anticipate the Raiders to bring back Jonathan Hankins. So, which defensive tackle do you want the Raiders to go out and sign? Obviously, if you want a big-name guy, it's Dalvin Tomlinson. If you want somebody a little bit cheaper, though, throw it down in the comments section. Today's show, presented by my good friends, BetUS. Go ahead and get started at chatsports.com/Raiders. Promo code Raiders125. It gets you 125% deposit bonus. And for our loyal watchers, I got a special offer that some of y'all have seen. We're going to add a little bit new twist here. If you want a free Raiders jersey when you go ahead and get started with BetUS, it is for new depositors only. You have to make a bet on March Madness. If you have never signed up with BetUS and you go ahead and put a deposit down of at least $100 and you bet on March Madness, I am going to get you a free Raiders jersey of your choosing. So basically, you deposit $100, you get $125 for free. You go ahead and bet on March Madness, and then you get a jersey for free. If you have any questions about anything I just said, it's okay. I'm a squirrel when it comes to this stuff as well. Raiders at chatsports.com for the details. So one more time, it's chatsports.com/Raiders. Promo code Raiders125. Then you get a free Raiders jersey if you are a new BetUS customer and you bet on March Madness. Let's go to the safety position here. Well, there was a lot of safeties that signed franchise tags. So I'm going to put John Johnson at number 1. I do believe that he is the number 1 target for this Raiders team at safety. Anthony Harris is also up there as well. Obviously, Marcus May. You're looking at Marcus Williams, Justin Simmons. They all got franchise tagged. Number 3, Malik Hooker. If you're looking for a cheap one-year prove-it deal, Hooker is the guy that I want, and it's the jersey that I need. Number 4, Rayshawn Jenkins from the Chargers here. He actually had a pretty solid past 4 seasons. Now, I am curious to know how good he is on maybe a defense that's not quite as good as what the Chargers was, but it's a player that I know Gus Bradley likes. Another guy, he was actually already released by the Carolina Panthers, Trey Boston. In 2019, had one of the best coverage ratings that there were in football, and he had his best season in 2017 with who? Gus Bradley. So if you're going to spend big, you're going to go out and get a guy like Anthony Harris, John Johnson. If you want to go a little bit cheaper, look for a guy like Malik Hooker or Rayshawn Jenkins and Trey Boston. All right, let's go now to the linebacking position here. Who do you think the Raiders could go out and get at linebacker? I'm actually going to throw out the name Kyle Van Noy, released by the Miami Dolphins. I know the Raiders and I know John Gruden have their eyes on him. KJ Wright, definitely a connection here, knows the Gus Bradley system as well, and one of the best linebackers in all of football. Denzel Perriman, this actually move would not surprise me whatsoever. You bring in Denzel Perriman, you re-sign Nicholas Morrow, which I do fully anticipate the Raiders to do as well. But if you don't bring in a linebacker, I got Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah on my mind at pick number 17. All right, let's go to the next one here. It's Matt Milano from the Buffalo Bills. I like Milano a lot. He's a good coverage linebacker, but could be a little bit expensive. And overall, in terms of talent, he's actually probably better than Perriman. Jayon Brown also is another player that I really like from Tennessee. A good coverage linebacker, but could be a little bit out of our price range. All right, so I'm curious here. Linebacker. Name a linebacker that you want the Raiders to go out and sign. This is actually one of the positions where I just kind of want to either bring back Nicholas Morrow or go up high in the NFL draft and go get a guy like Okwara. So again, one more time, which linebacker do you want the Raiders to sign? Time to go to cornerbacks here as I catch my breath. Desmond King is the number 1 guy option here because I anticipate with them moving on from LaMarcus Joyner to try to find that nickel-type corner, which is why I have Desmond King at 1 and Brian Poole at number 2. These are the top 2 corners that I know the Raiders have shown some interest in this offseason, so don't be surprised if one of these 2 guys sign. Let's now go to the outside cornerback position, the name that y'all know that I've been talking about for months at this point, Richard Sherman. There's probably nobody else out there that knows the Gus Bradley system better than Sherman. Can also be an alpha, and Gruden has the connection there as well. Chidobe Awuzie, number 4 on my list here, has the connections obviously with the Chris Richard system. He plays a little bit closer up to the line. So let's say you can't afford a Desmond King or a Brian Poole. You want to go a cheaper option. Chidobe is the guy to keep in mind. Jason Verrett, the injuries got to scare the hell out of you. No doubt about that. But when he can stay healthy, he is actually one of the best corners in the National Football League. He was a top 10 cornerback according to Pro Football Focus last year, and he has a lot of connections with Bradley. So out of all the cornerbacks that I just mentioned, let me know if I missed somebody. I mean, A.J. Boye, he wasn't featured on my list because that's not somebody that I want the Raiders to honestly go out and get. He visited Las Vegas, but I just think he's a little bit washed up at this point. If there's any other corners that you think I missed, seriously, I make this show for y'all, so go down in the comments. I'm going to be looking. Now, Raider Nation, what I also want you to do is subscribe to Chat Sports. Like, we are doing amazing things here at the Raiders Report, but if it wasn't for Chat Sports, I wouldn't have a channel whatsoever. And if you're looking for live free agency coverage, I'm going to be live there. Tom Downey's going to be live there. Harrison Graham. We're going to have the entire team. We've been the number 1 most watched free agency coverage for like 3 straight years. We have a lot of fun, and I promise you, if you haven't already, go subscribe, youtube.com/ChatSportsTV. All right, y'all, time to go to the offensive side of the football here. The Raiders, they decided to move on from Trent Brown. Thank the Lord. So now you could potentially be looking at a right tackle like Darrell Williams. You're probably going to have to pay him, though, $12 to $13 million. Rick Wagner, he was released by the Green Bay Packers, but it's a veteran, and it's a guy I like a lot. The question is, though, do you pay a guy like Rick Wagner, let's say $5 million a year, or do you go with a guy like Kelvin Beachum, who has played a lot of snaps the past 3 seasons. He's reliable. I've been saying for a long time, maybe the best bang for your buck right tackle. Mike Remmers from the Kansas City Chiefs, he's an average tackle. That's exactly what he is. So if you miss out big on a guy like Williams and you can't get Wagner or Beachum, maybe you go with your plan D, Mike Remmers. And then I'm going to go with Cameron Fleming here. Not an option to replace Trent Brown. It's not that whatsoever. However, with Sam Young also being a free agent, you need extra depth. No disrespect to Brandon Parker. He's going to play on the left side behind Colton Miller. Cameron Fleming could at least be a backup right tackle. So what do y'all think here? Which right tackle do you want the Raiders to go out and sign? Let me know in the comments section. This is starting to become more of a position where it actually wouldn't surprise me if the Raiders did go in the draft. Maybe if a player like Rashawn Slater falls to 17. Maybe a guy like Christian Darrisaw there at 17. Tevin Jenkins, also another name to keep in mind. Time to go now to the offensive guard position. Joe Thuney. I understand that we're afraid of Patriots players because of Trent Brown. Joe Thuney works his butt off. He's never missed a game in 5 seasons. Kevin ZEITLER. This is going to be a new name here because the New York Giants, they released him on Wednesday, March 10th, and I do think that he's actually one of the better right guards in football, even though he's coming off a little bit of a down year. Kyle Long. Kyle Long retired from football in 2020, but he has a long history with the Bears. Sure, he played 1 season at right tackle, but if he were to play, I would also love to see him finish his career in some silver and black, and I know a lot of Howie Long fans out there would as well. Matt Filer. Left guard, he's actually for the Pittsburgh Steelers, so that's on me. Also, DJ Fluker, right guard from the Baltimore Ravens. This is going to be another player where you're just trying to fill some depth, and if you don't bring back Denzel Good, I think they will. If they don't bring back a guy like Richie Incognito, I think they will, right? Like, you're just trying to find some extra depth, but honestly, the name that I really want on that list is somebody like a Kyle Long. Now, if you guys are having a good time here, you bleed silver and black, or if you just want to get to know me a little bit better, hit me up on Instagram. I'm at Mitchell Renz 365. I'm always trying to answer DMs. I'm trying to get to know you guys a little bit better as well because I love the connection we can make during live shows, but I also like the connections I can make during my live IGs, and I think I'm going to do one this Saturday. So, hit me up at Mitchell Renz 365. It's time now to go to the wide receiver position. There's been so many reports to Juju Smith-Schuster. He is the number 1 player on this list, but I'm going to tell you this right now. I'd be pretty ticked off if it ended up happening. Number 2 is Curtis Samuel. If you don't decide to bring back Nelson Agholor, which, God, I think it's going to happen, and I hope it does happen, Curtis Samuel is the 1 wide receiver at age 24 that I hope the Raiders bring in. Marvin Jones, there's been 2 reports that I know from people that I personally trust that say that, hey, they could bring in Marvin Jones, which I do think would be kind of funny since, well, Tyrell Williams is now a member of the Detroit Lions. T.Y. Hilton, also a few reports around him. If you're looking for another vertical field stretcher, something that you had with Nelson, Hilton is an option. I just think he's going to cost too much money, and I believe that he's going to go to another team, not named the Raiders. The last person I'm going to bring up here is D.D. Westbrook. Looking for a player that can go ahead and sign a 1-year prove-it deal exactly like Agholor did last year. D.D. Westbrook is a player who's battled a lot of injuries, but 2018, 2019, over 60 catches. That does have some value. So out of all of the wide receivers I just mentioned, who would you want the Raiders to sign? You'll obviously know that I didn't list the name like Kenny Golladay, who is the number 1 player on my list, or Will Fuller. I just think they're going to be a little bit too out of the Raiders' price range, and I am a really, really big believer that Nelson Agholor is going to be coming back. All right, let's go to the running back position. Actually, when I started making this show, I had Mark Ingram on here, and then he just signed with the Houston Texans. So Marlon Mack's number 1. He's a pretty talented running back. He just can't quite stay healthy. I can't believe I'm doing this. Le'Veon Bell, Kansas City Chiefs. I know John Gruden in the past has been interested in him. Jamal Williams could be an interesting option. I am fully a believer that they're going to bring back Devontae Booker as they should. But the one thing that I'll give Jamal Williams a lot of credit, he's a very good very good pass blocking running back. James White is the pass catcher, and also throw in this name as well, another guy from New England. It's Rex Burkhead, it's Tevin Coleman, my mistake. I was going to throw Rex Burkhead in here. I was like, I can't do 2 of them, but hey, it's a bonus name. Tevin Coleman as well. If he could stay healthy, he's a very talented running back, but again, it's going to be Josh Jacobs. I fully anticipate Devontae Booker, and I'm curious to see what they do with Jalen Richard. If they decide to move on from Richard, though, that's where I think a guy like James White comes in mind. So out of all the running backs, that I just mentioned. I know there's a lot of other names out there as well. I'm just not a believer that you're going to spend big on a guy like Chris Carson. I don't think you should spend big on a guy like, I don't know, James Conner, Leonard Fournette, when you have somebody like Josh Jacobs. Now, this is going to be the end of the video. I know I asked you guys to comment a lot, but I appreciate it, and I know that you always, show out, so please, show out, go in the comments, and if you don't like anything that you saw in today's video, hit me up, IG, Mitchell Renz 365.